vinaigrettes. They are one of the French mother sauces. They're very versatile. And one thing that to know about them is just that all you really need to make a vinaigrette is about 1 part vinegar, which we have in the form of balsamic vinegar. We'll make a traditional balsamic vinaigrette. And then 2 to 3 parts oil of some type. And I'm going to use olive oil today. And anything else you add is just for flavoring. Today I'm going to add some Dijon mustard, some garlic, and then the Dijon mustard, and potentially if you want to add just a little bit, just even a small amount as a teaspoon of something like agave or honey. These 2 things together, or even just one of them alone, will help to emulsify, which means to bind together. It'll just be temporary, but help to bind together the vinegar and oil. Vinegar is, balsamic vinegar in particular, is made from wine, and so that's a water base. Oil and water don't mix very well. So the addition of a liquid sweetener or something like a mustard is going to help those stay mixed together longer. The nice thing about that is that you're going to be able to mix it up or shake it up if you're using it in a jar or something, and put it out on the table for people to use at dinner time, and then they won't have to mix between each person serving themselves. So that's really nice. And then also if you're trying to use it as a marinade or something, it helps to prevent the ingredients from separating a bit. Some other notes about vinaigrettes is that really there are endless variations. So one of the handouts in the program is the vinaigrette variations chart. There are columns that list many different types of oils, many different types of vinegars, and you're actually not even limited to vinegars. What you want to think of in terms of vinegar is really an acidic ingredient. So it could be vinegar, it could be citrus juice, so like a lemon juice, grapefruit juice, lime juice, something along those lines. And then anything else could be flavoring. And so you could add spices, herbs. They could be fresh or dried. If they're dried, you want to make sure that they get a chance to rest in the dressing for a while so that they can kind of hydrate and give off their flavors. You could add in any number of other things. Really, your imagination is the limit. So since it's so popular and it's really persevered over time, a balsamic vinaigrette, I'll show you how to make that. I'm going to whisk it together in this bowl. If you're making this and wanting to reduce the number of dishes that you have, you want a good storage container that is also your preparation container. Just saving some type of jar with a lid is a really nice way to make this. You just put all the ingredients together in a jar and shake them up, and that works great. So I have garlic here. When we go to make a vinaigrette and we're using something that's really pungent like garlic or onion, then we want to make sure to let it's almost like a mini or a short-term pickle here. So we're going to let it sit in the vinegar just for 5 minutes or so, and that's going to allow the garlic to start to permeate its flavor into the vinegar, and that will give us more of an even taste in the vinaigrette. We'll be less likely to get harsh little bits of garlic in whatever we're eating. So now that it's been about 5 minutes so that the garlic is sitting in the balsamic vinegar, I'm going to go ahead and add a teaspoon here. We'll add our Dijon. And in the recipe it says Dijon or some kind of sweetener. I kind of like both, so I'm just going to add both. And then we want to whisk that together. Whisk that together. It's a lot more difficult to mix that mustard and sweetener into the dressing once you've added the oil, especially for the mustard, so it's good to get it all mixed up well before you add that. And then if you're trying to emulsify while whisking, then you want to just drizzle the oil in slowly. I'd say add about 2/3 of it in there, so it'd be 1 part vinegar to 2 parts oil, and then taste it, adjust the salt and pepper, see what you think in terms of acidity, and then you can decide if you need to add more. If you were, say, making a mayonnaise or something, you would do the same technique where you drizzle slowly and whisk in. That's going to give you a temporary emulsification. If you're doing this in a jar, though, you can just dump it together and shake it up, and just shake it as often as you need to keep it mixed together. All right, so I think we've used about 2/3 of what was in there. So I'm going to go ahead and taste this. First, I'm just tasting for acidity. We'll taste for salt in a minute. All right, so what I'm tasting for is you really want there to be a nice tang to this. So it might seem a little bit overly sour to you tasting. It shouldn't be so much that you're like puckering up your face and it's hard to straighten it out. That's too sour, but it should taste a little bit more than is comfortable acidic, because you have to remember that it's going to be diluted in whatever you put it on. So if you get it to where it tastes perfect just eating it with a spoon out of a bowl, it's going to be very bland on your bowl or salad or dressing. So this is actually good. This vinegar doesn't seem to be as acidic as maybe some other ones. So I'm actually not going to add the rest of the oil, and I am going to season for salt and pepper. Add a little bit here. You can either salt your dressings or you can salt what you're putting your dressings on. It doesn't really matter. A lot of times you're going to adjust what you're putting it on anyway, so you know it's not really that essential to salt your dressing. I put a little pepper. I might put a little more. I kind of like the kick of black pepper in my salad, so you can use how you want. This is really something nice to use again as a marinade, salad dressing, for bowls. You could dip vegetables in it. There's lots of ways that you can use this dressing. Okay. I think that's perfect. So just a little pucker, just what we're looking for. And this is our traditional balsamic vinaigrette. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you ways to make lower oil versions. So we have 3 versions in the program. The next one is a low oil version, so it's just going to have only a 1/4 cup of oil, and then we have a totally oil-free version. And they're all very delicious, just some variations on the traditional. So you can see some of the principles behind making dressings and how you can really make whatever you imagine at home at whatever level of calories or not that you want, and you're not having to resort to buying, you know, whatever's on the shelf at the grocery store. You're gonna have much higher quality ingredients, lots more flavor, and a ton more variety. So I hope you get a chance to make some dressings at home and really enjoy making your vinaigrette.